The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Should I feel bad that I didn't fulfill all three of those conditions? I may not have nailed that whole truth thing. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Oh well, life goes on. Karen, my wife, is an up-and-coming investment manager and has her sights set on replacing her father, Lou, when he retires at the end of the year. Lou has, for the last 30 years, managed what has turned into a multi-billion-dollar retirement fund for a state-sponsored entity. A committee was reviewing applications for Lou's successor and, with Lou's input, had narrowed their choices to Karen and one other. Lou is a pompous individual. He and I never hit it off. He is loudly opinionated and thinks very little of my career. The less time I can spend around him, the happier I am. When we got engaged, it was Lou that had a most punitive prenup drawn up. Basically, if infidelity is involved, you get to keep your shadow. If there are kids, it gets even uglier. There is a formula for alimony. I was unfazed by it all, as fidelity means a lot to me. My name is Larry Trompeur. Karen and I were both 29 when we met at a conference, just under 3 years ago. I'm an executive for a company that creates and manages limited partnerships. Karen works for a company that provides investment advice. On the day of the conference, Karen was making a presentation on the tax benefits of some new investment products. At the dinner afterward, Karen and her associate Sasha joined me at my table. Both ladies were very flirtatious, and we decided to go dancing after dinner. We landed at a nightclub named Spread Your Wings. I enjoyed the company of both on the dance floor, but after a while it was Karen who had claimed me for herself. I certainly didn't object, as either one would have made me happy. Karen was certainly the driving force in our courtship. It was less than 2 weeks after we met when things became serious between us. It was a Friday, and, as I got home from work, Karen met me at my place. "Let's skip dinner and spend the evening in your place," she suggested with a mischievous smile. Our relationship progressed quickly from there. She was quite passionate, and we connected on a deep level that I hadn't experienced before. There was a genuine chemistry between us that went beyond the physical. There was more to our relationship than just physical attraction. Much like the night Karen claimed me, she was quite possessive at the parties we attended. With her line of work, there were weekly parties. She made it clear that she didn't like to attend these alone. The men, according to her, were always making crude remarks and behaving inappropriately toward her. When we weren't attending parties, we'd dine or dance or just hang out. There was very little time spent away from each other up until the end. This was the first marriage for each of us. Lou put on a grand extravaganza for his baby girl. Much of Karen's paycheck depended on her commissions. My paycheck carried us for the first year. We were starting to save for a house. About 6 months before the end, Karen landed some major contracts and her bonuses were substantial. She continued to have success, but her demeanor also changed. She was turning into Lou before my eyes. All of a sudden, I was not as good a partner as before. Along with her work success, Karen and Sasha, who was still single, started doing a girls' night out. They would do this about once a month. The place they liked to dance at was Spread Your Wings, where we had danced when we met. The last few times Karen had come home fairly intoxicated and her clothes disheveled. I was having doubts about her fidelity. At a recent family gathering, Lou had too much to drink and was tossing insults at just about everyone. I left Karen with the car and found a ride home. She was more than upset when she got home. "Why did you leave me there?" she demanded as she stormed through the door. "I told her to deal with it as he's her father, and if he can't act civil, I would not be spending time around him." "He's just being himself," Karen defended. "You need to learn to ignore him." "I shouldn't have to ignore anyone at a family gathering. That's not how respect works." It wasn't even a week later that I had a seminar at a downtown hotel. As I was checking in with the office during a break, I saw Lou enter an elevator. Maybe nothing to it, but the more I dwelled on it, the more sinister I thought it was. One of my friends, from work, has a brother who does investigative work. He cut me a deal to do a quick check on Lou. Turns out Lou likes to spend his good fortune with escorts. I gave the investigator a nice tip. Next time the man starts in on me, I'm going to confront him with this information. There had been a few homes broken into in our subdivision. I asked my landlord if I could hook up one of those porch motion detector devices. He gave his approval, so I installed it. When triggered, it would take a short video and, using our Wi-Fi connection, send an alert to the app on my phone. Karen was out shopping when I installed it. I tried to show it to her when she got home, but she brushed me off saying she had to get ready for her girls' night out. I told Karen it was time to end the girls' nights out. We didn't fight about it, but it was a spirited debate. Karen, I think it's time to reconsider these nights out, I said carefully. What's that supposed to mean? She asked defensively. I'm uncomfortable with you going dancing with strangers every month. It doesn't seem like something a married woman should be doing. She was having none of it. We went back and forth. Your need to go dancing is concerning me, I persisted. She dismissed it as just normal time away from me. You are jumping to conclusions and it's not what you think, was her dismissive comment. Around 7 p.m., Sasha in jeans arrived. She and Karen, in a dress, left without saying much. I decided I'd drop by to see how Karen acted on her night out. Friday nights were very popular at Spread Your Wings. Finding a parking spot was the first challenge. It was so crowded I was forced to stand far from the dance floor. It took a while to find Karen on the dance floor, and Elle wasn't thrilled with what I saw. She was pulled close to a guy, and one of his hands was placed inappropriately on her, while his other hand rested comfortably in another inappropriate place. After the song finished, I watched them head to their table. Sasha and some guy had their chairs side by side. At least with jeans on, Sasha was making it tougher for her guy to invade her personal space. Karen and her guy pulled their chairs side by side. Looked like all four had at least one hand under the table. Karen's guy pulled his hand up, sniffed it, then leaned in and said something to Karen. She leaned back into him. I sent a message. I've seen enough. Get a room. I'm going home to pack. I left and was just about home when I got a text back. Pack for what? I'm moving out, I replied. A minute later, my phone sounded Karen's ringtone. What the hell is this all about? Karen demanded. From what I saw tonight, it's not a matter of if you will cheat, just when. I'm guessing the when has already happened based on how you were acting tonight. Nothing has happened. Not tonight. Not any night. You are jumping to conclusions and it's not what you think, Karen replied. Well, his fingers were dry before they dipped below the table. They weren't dry when I saw them again. Nothing like that happened. You are very mistaken, Karen pleaded. I can come up with no explanation as to why your hands were never on the table either. I need time away from you at this point. I have done nothing wrong. It was harmless flirting. You are jumping to conclusions and it's not what you think, Karen answered. When my wife has to flirt with strangers to feel like a woman, it's time for me to reconsider whether I should even be married. It's not like that. I've done nothing wrong, Karen pressed. What you were doing didn't pass the spouse sniff test. This is going nowhere. I'm spending at least the next few nights in a motel. I'll be in touch. I hung up as I parked by our unit. I only packed for a few days. I figured I could get back to the apartment in a day or two and grab more clothes. As I was waiting at the light to turn onto the highway, my phone buzzed that someone was at my porch. I glanced. It was Karen. Karen's ringtone again. I picked up. You're really staying in a motel? She asked incredulously. On my way. There was no reason for you to hurry home. I didn't mean to jumpstart your conscience. Poor dude, leaving him all worked up. Wait, maybe you had time to finish your evening with him. I can't believe you. Nothing happened. You are jumping to conclusions, and it's not what you think. I wonder why he was sniffing his fingers. Nothing like that happened. Well, as long as you refuse to be honest, we are done. Good night. I powered down my phone. I found one of those weekly stay places a few blocks from where I work. I paid for a week and settled into my room. I can't say it was a good night's sleep, but a little sleep is better than none. Almost dreading it, I powered on my cell phone. As expected, several voicemails and texts professing her complete innocence and my totally wrong imagination. I sent her a text. "How about a lie detector test? I'm getting checked for STDs today." Her response took a while and was evasive. "Waste all the money you want on tests." "Great! When do you want to do the lie detector test?" I pushed. "I didn't say I would. Sasha says they are no better than a coin toss." "Okay." I flipped a coin. Heads, you've been cheating. Tails, you're being honest. Oh no, it came up heads. "I can't believe you think that. All I've done is go out dancing. You are jumping to conclusions and it's not what you think. Your body is supposed to be off limits to other men. What I saw last night was none were off limits. It wasn't like that. I won't continue living like this. That's why I moved out. I think we should try a separation." No calls or texts from Karen the rest of the day. Imagine my surprise when the porch video caught Karen leaving in a dress around 7 p.m. Around 10 p.m., another porch video showed Karen arriving home. She was accompanied by a guy who also entered the apartment. He left about 30 minutes later. Maybe they watched the 10 o'clock news. I knew the marriage was over, but I really needed to get my proof for the prenup. I spent Sunday locating a supplier for bedroom surveillance equipment. Once purchased, I decided to take a long lunch on Monday and install it. The nice thing about being this close to work was the extra half hour to eat and get ready in the morning. At lunch, I went back to my apartment, gathered some of our financial records, grabbed a couple of suitcases of clothing, and packed the rest of my bathroom stuff. The bedroom camera hooked up pretty easily to the ceiling light fixture. It would upload to the cloud using the Wi-Fi. That night I got a text. "I see you stopped by. Ready to talk yet?" "As soon as I get your lie detector test results," I replied. That was it. No back and forth tonight. The rest of the week was quiet, and work was more productive than usual. On Friday, I extended my stay another week. The porch video buzzed around 7 p.m. Sasha showed up in jeans, and Karen, in a dress, headed out. Saturday morning, I reviewed the porch videos. Like the week before, Karen returned around 10 p.m. with a different guy from the week before. He left about 30 minutes later. I logged in and viewed the uploaded bedroom video. I had all I would ever need to get an uncontested divorce. The video was disturbing to watch as a husband, but it confirmed what I had suspected. Karen had betrayed our marriage vows in the most intimate way possible. I won't go into the details, but suffice it to say, the encounter was far from romantic. It was crude, disrespectful, and clearly showed Karen was willing to be intimate with a complete stranger she had met at the club. What surprised me most was what happened at the end. The man pulled out his wallet and threw 2 bills on the bed. "See you again at Wings," he said casually. Karen picked up the bills and looked at them for a brief moment, then unloaded on him. "What is this? I'm not that kind of woman. Take your money and get out of here. You're pathetic, you loser." Karen threw the bills at him. He scooped them, then held them up. "No problem, lady. You weren't worth half of this anyway. You need to sign up for lessons." He disappeared from the bedroom. Karen took a pillow and slammed it down on the bed, about 20 times, then hurled it across the room. I almost felt sorry for her. Who am I trying to fool? I couldn't have been happier with the outcome. I guess it's going to be a tough sell for Karen to get me to believe I had misinterpreted this. I watched the video over and over. It occurred to me that if someone were to end the video as Karen was holding the 2 bills, they might get the wrong impression of what had happened. Isn't it wonderful all the video editing tools you can get nowadays? The final product was simply perfect. This revenge was far beyond my wildest dreams. I would need to get back into the apartment to get all of the email addresses I needed for the ambush. A few days later, I took a long lunch and found all that I needed. I no longer needed the bedroom camera, so I took it down. Friday night around 6 p.m., I knocked on Karen's door. "Well, look who decided to grace me with his presence. For what do I owe this pleasure? It's your home, you didn't need to knock," Karen said with a hint of sarcasm. Karen, I've decided I don't need the lie detector test anymore, I replied calmly. You never did, Larry. Ready to talk? She seemed hopeful. Karen, have a seat. I've got something you're going to want to see. Things have already been resolved, so consider it fait accompli. As you know, this is still my apartment. I had every right to install cameras. Since the videos were shot in my apartment with my equipment, I'm also allowed to share them with whomever I choose. I'm so anxious for you to see this, and then I'll tell you who I've shared this with. Karen's smirk had been replaced with an odd look, mostly panic mixed with horror. I clicked the play arrow. What is this? You had no right, she gasped. Then, when the video ended, she really got into my face. Where's the rest of the video? This isn't how it ended. You horrible person. Well, Karen, your response tells me all I need to know about our marriage. No, I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to hurt you. Nothing like that. No remorse at all. I'm probably jumping to conclusions and it's not what I think, but it looks like you were getting paid for intimacy. Kind of like an escort. What parts have I gotten wrong? Where's the rest of the video? I'm not an escort. I gave him the money back. Well, from what I saw, you were probably overcharging him anyway. How much did you get? 2 tens? They were $100 bills, she admitted unwittingly. Wow, you're a high-priced companion. I guess business at Wings is pretty good, huh? Am I jumping to conclusions again? I'm not that kind of woman. Actually, Karen, you are. This was filmed last weekend. You were married and being intimate with someone other than your husband. That makes you unfaithful whether you got paid or not. As I said earlier, I've already done what I'm going to do. She tried to grab my phone, but I was able to keep her at bay. Give me the video. You had no right. You can't share this with anybody. Well, let's talk about who I've shared this with. I was concerned that people would think I was involved in your activities, so I sent a copy to the sheriff with a note expressing my deep concern that your operation could have adverse effects on me. I volunteered to testify as a witness for the state. I hope they don't jump to conclusions. You did what? I'm not doing anything illegal. It's not what it looks like. Let's move on. Your father uses similar services. I've got an investigator's report proving that. I've sent that report and this video to both him and your mother. If you're not opposed to awkward family dynamics, Daddy has no problem paying for company. The panic and horror look from earlier was nothing compared to this. She was bug-eyed, her nostrils were flared, and she was shaking with clutched fists. I hate you. You are the worst person I've ever met. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Great minds think alike. Why? Why did you have to get them involved? This is between us. If I had videos of all the individuals you've been seeing, I'd have given them those too. Let's move on. I also sent to the investment committee this video and the report on your father. I suspect they will have time to review them prior to deciding on a new managing director. Oh no. Karen collapsed on the floor. It had taken a while, but the tears were starting to flow. Karen, thanks to Lou, it looks like I get to keep all the savings and checking account money. My lawyer has instructed the bank to place a freeze on those accounts. Also, thanks to your ability to close a deal, you will owe me alimony. Thanks, sweetheart. I went to the front door and invited the process server in. He tapped her shoulder. Karen Trompeur, you have been served. It's not what it looks like. There's more to the video. You can't do this to me. You had no right, she pleaded. I know, Karen. I'm always jumping to conclusions and am just too stupid to understand it's not what I think. Hey, if you hurry and get cleaned up, you still have time to get to Wings and round up another client for tonight. I hate you! Yes, you did, but paybacks sure are sweet. Have a nice life, Karen. I wonder how this video would look online. No, you can't. Please don't, please, please don't, please. She was begging now. We'll see. Maybe if you're a good person and don't contest the divorce. I headed out. Hey, Sasha. You're looking good. She's not quite ready to leave yet, I said coldly as I passed her in the hall. My shattered pride has been soothed by the exacted revenge. The sheriff did contact me. They had spoken with Karen, but since there just wasn't a clear offer to provide companionship for money, no charges would be filed. They told her that they would be keeping a close watch on her activities. Her father didn't have to wait until the end of the year to retire. He was fired. He seems to be living at a motel. Karen's mom must have jumped to conclusions about his activities. Karen's hopes and dreams about replacing her father as managing director were derailed. Just a simple, "Thank you for your application. We have decided to proceed in a different direction." I got a text from Sasha. "When this is over, would you like to go dancing?" I sat looking at that text for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond positively. After all, Sasha had always been attractive, and there had been that initial chemistry when we first met. But something felt wrong about it. Would I just be jumping from one bad situation to another? Was Sasha really that different from Karen? They were best friends after all, and Sasha had been present during all those nights at Wings. "I appreciate the offer, Sasha, but I need time to heal," I texted back. "I don't think seeing anyone connected to this mess would be healthy for me right now." She didn't respond, which confirmed my suspicions that her interest wasn't genuine. Perhaps Karen had put her up to it, trying to find a way back into my life or gather information. Whatever the case, I knew I had made the right decision. In the months that followed, I threw myself into my work. The company promoted me after I secured several key partnerships that significantly increased our portfolio. I also started volunteering at a local community center, teaching financial literacy to young adults. It gave me purpose beyond revenge and helped me process my anger in a constructive way. I met with a therapist twice a month to work through my trust issues. Dr. Jenkins helped me understand that while my revenge had given me temporary satisfaction, true healing would only come when I could let go of the bitterness. It wasn't an easy process, but gradually, I felt the weight lifting. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into Karen at a coffee shop downtown. She looked thinner, tired, with dark circles under her eyes. For a moment, our eyes met, and I saw a complex mixture of emotions: shame, anger, regret. She quickly looked away and left without her order. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, no pity. Just emptiness where the rage had once burned. That's when I knew I was finally starting to heal. When the courts granted the divorce, I received all of the money and they approved the alimony. With the divorce behind me, I just couldn't help myself. I sent to Karen, from an anonymous source, a copy of the full video. Is it too late for that to count as the whole truth? A year after my divorce, I sold the apartment and bought a small house with a garden in a quiet suburb. I adopted a dog from the shelter, a mutt named Buddy who had trust issues of his own. Together, we learned to be comfortable in our new life. I dated occasionally, but I was in no rush to enter another serious relationship. The betrayal had taught me to be more cautious, but Dr. Jenkins had helped me understand that being cautious didn't mean closing myself off completely. Sometimes when I look back at everything that happened, I wonder if I went too far with my revenge. The prenup would have protected me financially without destroying Karen's career and family. But then I remember the look on her face when she was dancing with that stranger, how easily she had betrayed our vows, and I know that some betrayals cut too deep for simple forgiveness. One thing I've learned is that the truth, the whole truth, is often messy and complicated. Karen wasn't entirely innocent, but perhaps I wasn't entirely justified in my response. We were both flawed people who hurt each other in different ways. As for Lou, I heard through mutual acquaintances that he and Karen's mother had reconciled and moved to Florida. Karen had found work at a smaller firm, far below her previous status, but at least she was employed in her field. And me? I'm still learning how to trust again, one day at a time. The truth may have set me free, but sometimes I wonder at what cost. 2 out of 3 may not be bad, but maybe next time I'll try for all 3. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, Please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.